Hello, fellow English students. Welcome to English Language with Teacher Nick. I'm Teacher Nick. I'm so happy you could join me. Today, I have a very special lesson for you. I will be breaking down the best way to memorize all those hard words that you will need if you want to learn to think in English. But first, let's talk about the difference between beginner and intermediate level of English. A lot of students will do very well at the beginning. They will learn very quickly all of the beginner level vocabulary and the first grammar patterns. They will start to understand some important phrases to use. Where is the bathroom? Where's the train station? All of these important things to know. After this, a student will very often start to see that there is a big difference between beginner and intermediate level English. A lot of students will very easily get scared by this. They will look for a way to make it simple. They will ask me, "Teacher Nick, why are you teaching us this story?" Or "Why are you teaching me this word that I will never use?" The most important thing that I've learned in over 20 years of watching people learn to think in English is that the best advice I can give you for how to make it simple is to stop trying to make it simple. The best way to make it simple is to make it complex and enjoy it. A lot of students will say, "I don't have time. There is this English test I need to take, and if I take that test, I can get a promotion at work and a better salary." And I completely understand the type of thinking that would say, "I need to learn more English quicker." Of course you do, and I'm saying that the quick way to learn something is to enjoy the complexity of it. Let's look at a real world example of this. There is a trick that you can see people doing on YouTube where they will take a deck of cards and they will look at it for 2 or 3 minutes. Just look at the order of the cards. Then they will give the deck to someone else and they can remember the order of the deck that they gave to the other person. There are a couple of ways that people can do this. If you want to learn, go learn to do it. It's absolutely something you can do. If you've gotten this far in learning English as a second language, then you can do this. The method to doing this is for every one of the cards, 2 of clubs or jack of hearts, you assign a person, either a person that you know or a famous person, and you want to make sure that each person looks different in these 52 people that you remember, and you put each card with those 52 people, and you think of it like a party where you're going and seeing all your friends. The method is that once you assign these cards in your mind as people that you know and in a place like a party or a house that you're familiar with, you will be able to track them. You will be able to remember the order of the cards. If you are trying to learn something as complicated as a language, the most important thing I can tell you is that the quickest way to learn is to enjoy the stories. I understand that every student is going to have to sit and memorize lists of prepositions or verb tenses. Of course you will have to. But when you have a chance, it's best if you can enjoy the story or enjoy the character of the word. To get into the idiom of English is the most important and the quickest way to learn. That is the real trick. Forget about how fast it is and just dive into how fun it is to know the stories of English. Think of it this way. If I handed you a list of 25 people in my family and said, memorize the names on this list, how long do you think it would take for you to be able to memorize a list of 25 names? Some of my family have 3 names, some of my family have 4 names. How long would it take you to memorize a list of 25 people's names that you didn't know? I don't know, a week? A couple of weeks to memorize that and take a test on it. What if I just invited you over to my house and let you eat family dinner with us and you got to meet these 25 people? You might not remember all of their names, but you will definitely remember who they were. It will be easier for you to remember those names once you've seen them act with each other. It is in understanding the characters of the people that you will more easily remember their names. And so it goes with any kind of knowledge that we have to gain quickly. The best way to gain it quickly is to dive into it more deeply, not try to skim the surface, to try to pick and choose which word will I use more. I will teach you English the same way you learned your language. Did you learn your language from books, from a list of words that you memorized? No, of course not. You learned your language and culture by listening to the stories of your culture in your language. You learned your language by singing the songs that the grown-ups around you sang. I will tell you the stories that are interesting enough for your mind to care about enough to remember them. I will tell you a story today. Stick around because there will be a quiz afterward. We'll see how much you can remember. You need to learn the story of English, and I love to tell the story of English. Subscribe, like, write a comment right now. Tell YouTube I'm doing a good job. Mnemonic is very important in Greek life. They would ask her blessing at the beginning of different plays and in different stories. We don't talk about her that much anymore. What we do talk about is mnemonic devices. A mnemonic device is exactly like I described, memorizing the playing cards by assigning each playing card a face and a personality that you will remember at a party or in your house. Design a framework and try to remember something as something else is called a mnemonic device. It is a very common way for people to memorize things. For instance, I know that the treble clef in music is EGBDF because when I was in 4th grade, I learned every good boy does fine, EGBDF. In this way, we learn to memorize things not in just a list of rote memorization, but with an association, with putting 2 things together and memorizing them by making it more complex. Mnemonic was worshipped as a goddess, but she was a titaness. That means a female titan. In Greek mythology, the titans are the fathers of the gods. They're from a time before and they're older. We get the word Titanic from the word Titan, which describes this race of beings from before the gods. Titans were a race of giants, and that's why the word titan means a giant. We might have a titan of industry or a titan in sports. Someone who is well known can be called a titan. Someone who has a lot of influence can be called a titan. Titanic, the adjective, becomes very big or huge. Famously, there's a ship named Titanic, and that was to talk about how big this ship was. There's a big famous movie about it too. Titanic is a very Titanic movie. Mnemosyne was a titan. Her brother, Cronus, is associated with time, and that's where we get the word chronological or synchronize. Cronus has a very interesting story. English has memory of time before it even existed. 1,000 years before anyone ever spoke English, the stories of English were first being spoken by the people of Greece. There are stories from a time before the internet and books. The people who told the stories would write poems or write songs to sing so that everyone could remember. When not as many people can read, it is very important that the songwriters and the history speakers learn to say stories and rhymes and songs so that people can remember the history. In the old songs, they speak of the first men, they speak of the first women. They tell the old stories of civilization coming together and what is important in culture. They tell the stories of before men and women. They tell the stories of the gods who sit on the mountaintops of ancient Greece and they watch the affairs of men. They might help or hurt the people that they see on the earth. Before even the gods, there were the Titans. In the beginning, there is the earth, Gaia, and Gaia has a son, Uranus. Uranus and Gaia then give birth to the Titans. The Titans were very powerful beings. They were giants, and they had the power to command the elements and time and everything. Mnemosyne is the goddess of memory, and Cronus is the Titan who is known also as Father Time. Cronus, with his sister Rhea, give birth to the gods. Cronus had taken power. He had cut the manhood off of his father and had taken all of the power away from him. Cronus had also heard that his own children would depose him, just as he had deposed his father. So, as his sister and wife, Rhea, would give birth to his children, he would grab them out of her hand and he would eat them up. After many children, Rhea did not want to see this happen again, so she came up with a plan. After Rhea had given birth to her son Zeus, she hid him away at another mountain and grabbed instead a stone. She wrapped the stone like a baby, and when Cronus came and demanded his son, she handed up the stone as if it were her son Zeus. Cronus took the stone and swallowed it whole without even thinking about it. Zeus later grew up to be very powerful. He came to his father, cut open his father, and out from the stomach of Cronus sprang the brothers and sisters that Cronus had eaten before Zeus. Cronus was deposed and Zeus became the king of all of creation. He and his brothers decided what to do with all of the earth and all of the kingdom of Cronus, who they had just taken out of position. This stone, shaped like a navel, was very important in Greek cosmology. Cosmology is the understanding of the universe, both physical and spiritual. In the ancient Greek world, there was a temple set up, and there was a physical representation of this stone that was believed to be the actual stone that Rhea gave to Cronus. The name of this stone was the Omphalos stone. Omphalos is the Greek word for the English word navel. Navel is the place in your stomach where the cord connected you to your mother while you were in her stomach. This connection to your mother is very important in the Greek understanding of the world. It's where the food for the baby comes from. It's where the humanity enters into a lifeless creature. To properly honor that, they erected a temple in the ancient Greek world to study and to worship the stone. The high priests of this temple would stare at the stone, think about the stone, and ponder the depths of the universe. They would think of the deep questions of the universe. Why is there evil if everyone wants good? Why do bad things happen to good people? All of these important questions we might think of late at night, or maybe we don't. From this practice of staring at the navel stone, the Omphalos stone, and thinking about these deep thoughts, we get one of my favorite English words, and that is omphaloscepsis. Omphaloscepsis means to ponder and meditate while staring at the navel, which could be the navel stone or it could be your own navel. The idea is you ponder your relationship to your mother, your real mother, or maybe the universe, or maybe your culture. All of these are very important in Greek life and in every life. Why are we here? What do we owe our community? What do we owe our family? What do we owe ourselves? What do we owe our friends? These are important questions for some of us. This practice, called omphaloscepsis, is also called navel gazing. Over time, the meaning also migrates to maybe a useless exercise. Maybe some people are more concerned with making sure that there's food on the table or there's rent that is paid, and they don't worry themselves with deeper questions. These people might use navel gazing as a negative thing. I don't know where you are. I personally am a navel gazer. I enjoy a little bit of navel gazing. I enjoy a little bit of omphaloscepsis. What about you? Are you a navel gazer? Are you an omphalosceptic? I said at the beginning of this video that a lot of my students would say, why am I learning this word? And for this word, you might be asking yourself the same question. I remember when I first learned this word. I learned this word from my biology teacher in high school. His name was Dr. Rosinia, and he was my favorite teacher in high school. At the time, I was not interested in biology, but I very much enjoyed his class because he would teach the material, and indeed I still remember things about science because he taught us. The way he taught us was he would cover the material, he would teach us the things he had to teach, and then he would tell us stories. I have heard the word omphaloscepsis 3 or 4 times in real conversation in the time from when I was 15 till now, in my 50s. I have heard the word navel gazing maybe a little bit more. Do you need to know this word? No, you do not need to know this word. I think, for me, it's knowing the things that I don't have to know that I enjoy the most. I think that if you are this deep into this video, maybe you also enjoy the story. To me, the story is more important than the words I learn in it, and that's how I remember the words that I need to know. To prove that, we will now have our quiz that I promised at the beginning. The first question on this quiz is, what is the first letter of the word mnemonic? Did you get M? Of course it's M. You're going to remember that it's M, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. That's how we remember mnemonic starts with an M. Question number 2. What are some mnemonic devices? Can you think of some ways to put two things together to remember all of it? There are many different mnemonic devices we can use. We can remember a sequence of letters with a sentence that uses the same sequence of letters, like every good boy does fine. We can write a song or make a rhyme about it. These things are all mnemonic devices. What does Titanic mean? Of course, Titanic means very, very big. Kronos had also heard that his children would depose him as he had deposed his father. What does depose mean? That's right. Depose means to take the power away from and take it for myself. If I depose the king, I make him not the king, and now I am the king. What does navel mean? Yes, navel is the hole in your stomach. It can either be a hole, which we call an innie, or it can be a bump, which we call an outie. Of course, innie and outie are child's terms for this. It's fun to hear children describe the difference between themselves and other children, innie and outie. Now let's move on to some more fun questions. What did Rhea give to Cronus? That's right. She gave the Omphalos stone to Cronus. Which card was Taylor Swift? I'll be honest, I don't remember which card was Taylor Swift. If you can remember which card was Taylor Swift, maybe you should memorize a deck of playing cards. Taylor Swift was the Jack of Hearts. Good job if you remember that. Today we talked about so many things you will never need to know. I hope you appreciate exactly how important it is for you to be interested in the stories. If we learn English as a list of words, we will never make the proper relationships between those words. We will never understand the idiom of English if we don't try to understand the story in the words that we hear. The way that we are set up to learn any language is the way that our parents taught us when we were kids. That's why histories are told in songs and in rhymes. Before the invention of books, before the invention of writing, we had rhymes, we had songs. These are the ways that our brain knows how to remember things. I beg you, if you are an English student, please don't try to make things simple for yourself. It is my pleasure to share with you the story of English. I love these stories, and I really enjoy teaching them to my students. I hope you enjoy learning them, and if you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this video with a friend. Thank you so much for joining me here on English Language with Teacher Nick. I'm Teacher Nick. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.